Welcome to Who Put This On, Season 5, Episode 39, where we watch Southern Charm New Orleans, Season 1, Episode 1. I'm Chris Lorenz.
Noah Singer.
Hey, this is James.
Robert Kitts.
This is BJ.
Marty Grax.
If this is your first time joining us, we watch a different reality show each week, rate it, discuss it, and figure out what's good, what's bad. Rob, what show do we watch this week?
Watch Southern Charm New Orleans. Would you like a show description, Chris?
I would love a show description.
Bravo Media makes its way to the Big Easy with the premiere of Southern Charm New Orleans. Hidden away from the beads and beats of Bourbon Street is an exclusive community of wealth, champagne, costume balls, bespoke suits, rich culture, deep traditions, and the home of the new Southern Charm franchise. This series will follow an elite circle of friends who are born into prominent families and live a New Orleans lifestyle of exclusive parties where you know everyone and everyone knows you. Although this social group lives in a world filled with lavish parties and exclusive invites, underneath the life of luxury brews a multitude of shocking secrets that could rock the foundation of long-standing friendships. That's Southern Charm New Orleans on Bravo.
Thank you, Rob. Yeah. So this is Real Housewives, but with other people in New Orleans. Am I
I don't
wrong?
know why it's Real Housewives. It's like they don't focus just on the housewives. In fact, most of the wives are actually doing work. So they show both parts of the couple. There's some single dudes in there, and they aren't housewives. So none of that applies.
No, it's the
That's
format
fair.
of the show.
Yeah.
The format of the show is you take a couple people in a community and you just film parts of their life and you manufacture some drama between them, and that's the show.
Isn't that Keeping Up with the Kardashians though? Should it
Yeah.
No, that's also very much.
Right.
When you said that, VJ, I was like, oh, yeah, I mean, keeping up, it's more the Kardashian show than the Housewives show. But, they're in the same, I wouldn't call them that far apart from each other.
It's one of those Bush family brood shows,
Yeah.
as people say.
Yeah.
The OG Bush Family Brood.
That's right.
So let's go through this. We've got the intro, 5-6 people, blah blah blah. There's just so much stuff happens in this episode. Anyway, they go to the Mardi Gras parade. There's a housewarming event. What else am I missing? There was
There was a 4-person dinner.
there was a dinner. Yeah, there's a 4-person dinner was first.
Right. Then there was the tea party. There's also a lunch party for the guys, lunch get together, but tea party where they pick out their costumes. Then there was the parade, and then I think just the housewarming.
And then there's a lot of little interjections where we went to see some guys parents and they were just in this kitchen, they were just talking.
Well,
for a
he was
while.
asking to move in.
Yeah, there's just little drama events happening that weren't big events.
Well,
Okay,
it is like
so.
E1, right? They're teeing up the story arcs for the whole season. So I think it makes sense for E1.
No, I didn't say anything that it's just from a whole standpoint of watching this episode, it was moving. We went from one place to the next without any there's no breathers really.
Mhm.
Look, we get into it. There's no breathers, right? But nothing happens. That's part of the problem. There's literally nothing as we've discussed with these shows. Nothing really happens in this whole episode.
But that's the point of these. I mean, especially in episode 1, you
Yeah.
can't have stuff happen. You have to know who these people are.
I think
You can't have
I
a
think-
divorce happen in episode 1.
You could. That'd be interesting.
I think stuff doesn't have they have to make you care about the people before stuff actually happens, right? So that'll take some time.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get into it, but I think that some stuff they definitely tee up some storylines and give you some characteristics about all these people, whether they're caricatures or not. I don't know, but I think the best way to go through this is probably character by character instead of going beat by beat. Mainly because that's how I wrote my notes down. So, let's start out with Jeff and Regan. Jeff is a former NFL player for the Saints who won
Yeah,
a
Jeff
Super Bowl.
Charleston.
He is a defensive end, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I got a question
And-
for the internet corner real quick on this guy. Did he actually play a single down in that game? Because he claimed that he won a Super Bowl, but like I did a quick search and he was an undrafted free agent, bounced around between a couple of different teams. I
Hey,
sort of got
man.
the impression he wasn't like a starter D
Well,
end.
You got that ring. What does it matter?
On my brief internet cornering, like it seems like that was one of like 2 seasons where he actually played a decent number of games. Like he just kind of got lucky to be on the right team at the right time for that. But I didn't look up the stats for like game to game, but it seemed like he played a decent amount that season.
Yeah, so I'm in the corner right now. For the Super Bowl winning season for the Saints, he played 19 games, which I'm assuming
That would
is
be
all
all
or
of them.
close to all.
That would
That's
be
all.
of them.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Thanks for checking.
So he's obviously not the quarterback, but like, he played. He earned the ring. Like you could be on the team and be on the bench and get that ring too. So like, you got the ring. You can go around saying that you won the Super Bowl. I think, like
Totally.
Them rings.
Very legitimate.
So they're married, right?
Yes.
To Regan, and Regan is a character. She's like Southern, blonde sorority girl. And she's going to law school.
She
And-
calls herself legally blonde because
Yeah.
she's moderately blonde. This isn't her words. Moderately blonde and has big boobs. And she
No. The point of contrast was she has bigger boobs.
Oh right, thank you. You're right, Noah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come on, James.
It's
Do
true.
you think who paid for those? Do you think Jeff paid for them or her parents paid for them?
Well, she's just in law school, so she doesn't seem to insinuate that she has any sort of money or jobs or anything.
Well, no. She said she has 2 companies or something.
Oh, really? I missed that. part.
Yeah. She said she was super busy because she had 2 companies and she was about to graduate law school. And I was very confused how you have 2 companies and trying to graduate law school.
They can't be like legitimate like companies.
I mean,
They can't
I guess,
be more than one employee.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah,
As
it's
a-
unclear where she was in the show, but she has what looks like a moving jewelry company, at least in the current day.
Okay.
That's a social media influencer company for sure, right? Like,
I mean, she's no good. Like, that's kind of the whole thing of it. Like,
Right.
We'll get to this later, but like, they talk about how Jeff can't trust people because of his past, and then she's basically about to break him again.
Yep.
do you
Yeah.
think that she is, what's the term?
An alcoholic?
No. I mean, she's
Because I think
definitely
she
an
is.
alcoholic.
Yes.
She's definitely an alcoholic. I'll get back to it if I remember the term. But yeah, she loves cocktails. She has great one-liners. That was good. Their house, they live like all these people claim they live in New Orleans, but like these people don't live anywhere near New Orleans.
Only this couple. Everyone else, it seems like, does live in New Orleans.
Yeah, they live like an hour away from New Orleans, and part of their storyline this season is they're trying to buy a place in New Orleans so she could go back to law school. It's like, who cares? Like, fucking, like, if you can afford it, just buy it. Like, get it. Like,
That's gonna
No,
be
no,
the
no.
whole story
So
arc, though,
stupid.
Chris. There's gonna be
So
this whole
stupid.
drama. It's gonna be a whole
Mhm.
thing.
No, of course, there's much more nuance than them just trying to buy a place. Like, they have a big house in Covington, which is outside of New Orleans, and then they have gotten or are going to get like a small apartment so she can go to school, and he's excited about moving back to New Orleans, but little does he know that he's actually not invited to this apartment that they're going to buy together. She's just going to live there most of the week. She calls it part of the week, but she says 4 days a week, so that's majority of the week at that point. And that is how she's going to crush this guy.
Right. Because she's going to be partying in the French Quarter by herself.
Well, she's just gonna she's going around telling people that she's moving out basically. Like you can't like if you spend one night a week, sure, right? Like when you're going majority of the week, you're moving out.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, if she's going to school, you gotta do what you gotta do. Like I don't understand.
No, but he thinks he's also moving into that apartment. So like which he's
well, we don't know that.
Yeah, we do.
we do know that.
He talked about it.
Yeah.
He
Jeff is,
talked
like,
about how excited he was.
No, we know he wants to. She never said that he wasn't allowed to live there. To like,
Yeah,
She
Definitely.
did.
I missed
That's
that.
the whole story. That's like this is what I've been talking about.
No, I understand you've been talking about it. I just don't remember in the show when they said that.
It definitely
At the
was.
tea party.
She's having a whole conversation with Tamika about it. We'll get to that.
Oh, we'll get to Tamika.
But so to circle back to Jeff though, Jeff is like, yo, so to set the thing, they live like 45 minutes north in this thing called North Shore Covington, right? Which is across the water, longest bridge in the world, apparently. Fun fact. Didn't know that.
Over the water
wow.
bridge.
Yeah.
over the wall.
Over the water.
Whichever, which is like I don't really get like a lot of bridges are over the water, so I don't really get the distinction necessarily. But I'm sure it
What
is.
do you get?
Oh, I thought the internet
24
corner was
miles
going
over
to
water.
dive in and answer that one for
Yeah,
us. So
Noah, why
what
don't you-
makes it not the longest bridge, but the longest bridge over water?
We'll find.
There
You can
might
have a
be.
land bridge.
There are often bridges that like have an island sort of in the middle of it, like Mercer Islands for the Seattle area.
Mm,
I'll find
then
out. Do
that's
y'all
two
remember the name of the
bridges, then.
bridge? It was a very New Orleans name. I'll find
I'm
it.
sure if you search 24-mile bridge in New Orleans, you'll find
I'll get. Yeah. I'll find it.
But here's the real thing. So Jeff is going on and they're just kind of showing their house and etc. Right. And he's like, this house is huge. It's like 4,200 square feet. It's like only 3 bedrooms. And he's like, we can't even fill these rooms right now, like until we have kids and stuff. And so he's like, basically when he goes out for a run in the morning, he's like, is this a bunch of old people here with nothing fun to do? There's no energy. So I'm really like, as he later catches up with his buds, he's really telling them how excited he is about to move to the French Quarter and get like out of this Covington house and into some place that's a little more lively. So that kind of sets the stage for this drama.
Why don't they just both move there? I don't understand.
Because she doesn't want
That's
him
the
to.
whole point. Chris, what are you not getting?
He's not getting it. VJ's
I'm not
getting
getting it. I mean, I'm
Why
not
don't
getting
they? You're correct. Why don't they? They are married and they should live together. And she shouldn't be going around telling people that she's about to be separated from her husband and she hasn't told her husband yet, even though he has no clue about this. And
I
he's
don't
like,
think
"Oh,
that.
we're moving
I don't
together."
think that's gonna happen.
I mean, you want me to go internet corner on you?
Yeah, internet corner for us.
Oh,
Spoilers.
They've already been divorced 2 years ago, so yeah, I think it did happen.
Okay, all right.
Oh,
Well, there you go. Some drama for this show because 2 years ago, I guess it's 2019. The show.
3 years ago, sorry, I forget it was 2021.
No,
Alright,
let's
so
let's go to the corner on this. This is the info that I had.
Okay.
The show aired in 2018. They divorced in 2018. So they divorced like as the show's airing. In 2019, she announces she's already married to someone else, and they're gonna have a baby a month later.
Who got the show? Are they both off the show or
They're both back on the show for season 2.
what?
Ooh, Nelly.
I guess that's some drama you can manufacture there. Or
So there you go.
don't need
Now
to
you're up to
manufacture.
date on all my season 2 spoilers.
Manufacturer, it's real drama. This is happening in the real.
I know
life,
that's what
dude.
I corrected myself. They don't need to generate.
What if they got divorced just for the sake of the show?
They just cast it really well. That's what it seems like to me, right?
Yeah.
Some things that some minutia I noticed with this couple is that Reagan said that Jeff's jokes were like not funny, and one of the examples was Jeff would just be naked at the top of the stairs as a joke. Would you find this funny?
Like if you saw Jeff or like you're Jeff?
No, if you were naked at the top of the stairs.
Mhm.
Would I find myself being naked funny? No.
Yeah. No.
Well, obviously, I don't know. It doesn't seem very funny either. But
Is
I
it
guess
supposed to be funny or sexy?
I don't know. I think
Is it good naked or bad naked?
I probably good naked at that point. He's not using a belt sander or anything.
mean, he was doing a lot of hip thrusts in his reenactment, so I feel like he was intentioning to go for the surprise factor.
Oh, definitely
Like,
surprise
oh,
factor.
I think he's just trying to be silly. Like it's
Yeah.
fine, right? Like he's trying to be silly. He's trying to be playful. That's it.
Yeah, I could see why that divorce happened.
Is that what did it for
Ouch.
you?
Well, you know, if he's trying to be silly and she's like, "Stop being silly," like, but that's just like not gonna work out. I could see why it would work out. Not to say that it won't work out, but I could see
mean,
why they do.
This is the least of their problems. Again, she is completely duping him, and then second, she also just like blurts out like what seems like something really, really personal to him about his estrangement from his family, and like if he wanted to, like I understand these people are close friends, but if he wanted to tell them this happened apparently years ago, so like he would have told them. Like it just like she just blurts it out in the middle of this party in an inappropriate setting.
With like,
Like,
40
yeah.
people at this party too.
Like it just like like if it was like again like at the dinner, the original dinner, this game comes up, they discuss it with two of their close friends. It makes sense, right? Like I get that. But like this giant housewarming party, inappropriate.
She's just trying to ham it up for this reality show.
But she could have done that at the dinner.
That's fair. I don't know. But yeah, that was the other thing I wrote down about Jeff is that his mom stole money from him and now they're estranged. That sucks.
It's crazy.
I mean, like as an undrafted free agent in the NFL, you're not making a whole bunch of money generally, probably. So, you know, I guess his career post NFL is now a reality show star, which doesn't really pay that much anyway. So got to figure out how to pay to be in these houses. It's probably why they live so far away from New Orleans.
Yeah. So I got an update on that bridge. So we were right. Like Max was right that like there is usually something underneath, or there's some like land to put down another like pillar on the ground. But what I find very American, China now has like many other bridges that are bigger, but it seems like they lobbied the Guinness Book of World Records to create like subclasses of like longest bridges just to get like a technicality of now they're like the longest continuous bridge where there's like an aggregate bridge and probably some other bullshit just so they can put a little tip in their hat.
Let's be clear. The Guinness Book of World Records is very American capitalism. If you want a world record, just pay them and they'll come to you and be like, okay, you've got the longest eyelash. Here you go. Like,
Yeah,
this
totally.
This is yours. Like, there's no validation. Just like you could pay them. You could be in it.
Chris, can we get this podcast a Guinness World Record?
And let's do longest podcast, guys.
Oh
You
no.
definitely get like I often will watch some Guinness World Record shit on Snapchat and then send it to Rob, and they're just so random all the time. It's so ridiculous.
I was really expecting to say TikTok there. Who watches stuff on Snapchat?
EJ.
Like people are worse at Snapchat. Like that's how their whole business model works, and they're making money. So clearly, people do it.
It's
Yeah.
garbage. It's hot
It's so
garbage.
bad though. Like, sorry.
I don't know what you. We literally just watched Southern Charm, New Orleans. You judging me for watching stuff on Snapchat? Like what the fuck is wrong with you
Snapchat
fuckers?
is like
You're
I'm
on
judging
halfway
you.
to
I'm not
five
judging you for
episodes.
watching. I'm judging Snapchat.
yeah.
I'm just saying, like season 5, episode 39 of this podcast, and you're judging me for watching garbage. What?
It's a different type of garbage. Like continuously on Discover, it's like these women's boobs are so big. Guess what happened
I mean,
next?
I'm just saying, like our recommendations are slightly different on that front, Noah.
I don't know.
I'm
I
watching
don't
Guinness
go there
World
that much.
Records. You're watching Big Boobs. So like, I don't know what's going on there. Like, I'm just saying,
I
like, this is different.
I don't go there that much, so I definitely don't have it personalized. But it's hot tabloid garbage.
I'm just-
All right. Let's get back to the show. Let's talk about Barry and Tamika. So Tamika is an anchor on ABC, or a co-anchor, or at least used to be. I don't know.
She's
Somebody
the
could
anchor.
Somebody
Yeah.
could internet corner that. I don't know. So she seems to be the other kind of star of the show. It seems to be like Tamika and Regan, and they're friends, and their relationship is described as like the weather in New Orleans, stormy, then sunny the next minute, as in they love hate each other, I guess. I don't know.
The other way they explain it is like they're just like fighting siblings who fight a bunch. Like that seems more normal.
Yeah, I think they said they're like sisters, basically. So,
Right. Yeah.
like they love each other, but they fight, and
Seems reasonable.
you totally botched that saying, but it's basically the relationship's like the weather. If you wait 5 minutes, the weather will change.
Right.
New Orleans.
Yeah. So she, I guess, everyone seems like a pretty popular person if you're the co-anchor at a local news station, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I don't know any of these Seattle ones, but I definitely knew like when I was growing up, I knew who they were.
So do anchors at news stations like get drunk on Mardi Gras floats? Like is that a New Orleans thing, or is it like is she like not really the anchor of the news? Like is this kind of like a stretch of what her role is on the station?
I don't think she says news actually. She just says anchor of a show, right?
So I already got the answer.
Yeah.
She's the anchor of Good Morning New Orleans, which is probably their standard morning show. Like I think it's pretty legit.
Rob, that's a very interesting question. 'Cause, like, this is her just like she's getting drunk throughout like this whole episode, really.
I'm just saying, like, if we're watching Anderson Cooper get hammered on TV on an annual basis now, other anchors can do it. It's fine. This is acceptable in society at this point.
I mean, that's a really good point. I did watch Anderson Cooper drunk on New Year's Eve.
I mean, maybe it's just like modern day. They don't like care as much as they did like when you get your news like all over the place nowadays versus
She's not a news anchor also, right? Like that's what no one just told us.
Good Morning America. Good Morning New Orleans.
New Orleans. Right. Yeah, they're just like, morning TV.
Do you think she gets paid more for that or this show?
Easily Good Morning New Orleans. Like not even close.
Like per week or like per year?
I think like not on a per episode basis.
This has to be more better. Yeah.
I don't
Like
know.
obviously on like
more
a
work.
yearly basis, like you're doing way more. Shows.
This episode is way more work. It like captured so much. And like one thing I had to note of is like they show like 8 months ago this happened, and they had videos from that too.
I think that was shenanigans. I don't know if that actually was 8 months ago. I think it was some sort of dramatic reenactment.
Totally. But like they definitely put in the effort. Like per episode has to be this. Like
They put in the
there's
effort. That's true.
Right.
All right, so I might eat my words. They said each cast member earns about 25,000 per episode, which seems very high. Because they're doing 15 episodes a season, that's $375,000 per cast person.
Well, I think you have to be on the episode and probably one of the main cast members.
Still, for a reality show, that seems very high. $375,000 a year.
We're not doing it right.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we need to be on one. We got to make
Man.
one. One thing to note is that they have 2 kids. One, the son is 15, the daughter is 8. And they seem to be like their storyline apparently is that they haven't had sex in 4 months, supposedly. And so there's like a bunch of stuff happens where like they moved into a new house, so they had the last party we talked about. So they had an open house and people brought them gifts. And all the women brought them like one brought like a voodoo like priest by to like bless the house and like bless the bedroom. And like they went and bought some sort of like love potion from some voodoo person too, and that was a gift. And it was like pretty like everyone in that room at the end they talk about how they haven't had sex. So it's like another like really personal thing to bring out in this like giant room of people, which is
she again, it seems like she mentions it to like 3 people at that tea party, right? And she's kind of doing that in confidence, and then these people are just kind of throwing it back in her face at the housewarming.
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't seem like, oh my God, and then like running away like I feel like most people would do. But she like takes it in stride.
I mean, I have no doubt that this was, pushed by the producers. This and the medium that shows up at a party felt particularly like producer meddling.
Priestess Katarina.
I mean, you gotta have the storylines, Max. Like if you don't have the storyline, then you're not in the show, and you don't get your $25,000, and then you don't get your $375,000.
How rich are these people? Like, I don't understand like how they can afford some of the stuff they were doing.
Yeah, I was looking. I was trying to find this out. I couldn't find for Southern Charm New Orleans, but for the original Southern Charm, their net worths, some of them were like in the hundreds of thousands, others like in the low millions. It wasn't off the charts.
Right. Like, but like the Nickel person definitely has money, right? She has the chef, right? So
Yeah,
like,
we'll
clearly
talk
wants
about
that money.
her. I mean, Tamari, co-host of whatever show she's on.
Tamika?
Tamika, sorry. Ooh. I mean, they didn't have like a super unmodest house. Like they seem to have a pretty modest house. Like I wouldn't say like,
But then like she had flown in her dress and she had like, they had a chef come in from Merrill, which is
Yeah, but the flown in the dress, like it's unclear. She just said the dress was from LA. Unclear. She like found it somewhere and like, oh, this is from Los Angeles.
Like,
and she like, whoop.
you could say whatever you want, VJ. Like they're trying to make it look like they have more money than they actually have. Like
no, totally. I agree. And that's why my question of like how much money do they have?
The only ones that looked like they had some money, but they lived an hour outside New Orleans was Regan and Jeff. Like their house was kind of palatial.
But that's the thing. Their house is the fact that it's so far outside the city is partly why it's so nice. Like they couldn't afford that kind of house.
But I wonder if Covington is like a fancy area. Like I don't like. It could be that Covington is like super fancy.
I'm on Redfin right now. I'm trying to figure this out.
The master at work.
Yeah, I mean, so Nicole, Regan's friend, which we see, that's where the tea party is hosted.
Yep.
I believe. That house looked pretty nice. And
yeah. I
don't know where that house was, but I have to say that person probably has some money.
Yeah.
That's where we find out about the float that they go on in Mardi Gras, where they all dressed up as different animals. And this float lasted like 6 hours or something.
While all the men had to wait for it.
Yeah. And they were just drinking the whole time. And that's when we see Tamika just like pass out on the floor. And like she said she didn't eat anything that day, which seems like, pull in what we call a Harrison. When Harrison comes back, you can ask him about that. But like just not eating and drinking is bad. That's how you end up on the floor.
Sure. But Chris, like multiple times you and I have gone on a float, so to speak, for 3 hours and drank a lot.
It's true, but I ate beforehand.
Max, were you drinking both champagne and Jello shots at the same time?
I don't believe so. No.
Yeah, because that can also
also those are both
accelerate
like
the process.
Relatively low ABV.
I mean, we don't
Depends
know
on
how
how
they
you
made
make
those Jello shots.
That's true.
They might have been Chris Lorenz Jello shots. You don't know.
I mean, if you're making Jello shots. Also, one thing that made it seem like she had a lot of money, she had a personal chef. Like, didn't seem like it was a personal chef just for this tea party. Like, I think that's just a personal chef.
Right.
Which, of course, you probably have a driver then. Like, you can't just have one.
Of course, you can just have one.
The personal chef made them an iced coffee, and Regan looked a little confused. And then he's like, "Don't worry, I spiked it." And she's like, "Oh, okay, I'm happy now."
Well, Regan, she said that alcoholism basically runs in her blood, is what she implies. Which that's a really sad statement. She says it in if that was really true, that's like really sad. But
she was also proud of herself that it was like, it's in my blood because alcohol's in your blood, but also genetics.
Right. And that's because her ancestor invented some drink.
Do we think her ancestor really invented this drink?
Yeah. the Sazerac drink. That was like her great great grandfather.
No, but they also said he invented bitters, which
Right.
No. He grew bitters. It didn't say he invented bitters.
Okay.
I don't know.
I
But
don't
then
think
he
that- it's
invented
not
the
invented.
drink.
Mm.
Oh.
Anyway, on her, I'm looking up Covington. It seems like a decent, like it's an hour outside, so it's hard to call it a suburb. But looking around, it's definitely like a nicer neighborhood from what it appears to be. Redfin lists the schools not so great, so I'm a little conflicted. But they have like an average house value of like $500,000. So kind of like for the middle of New Orleans, of Louisiana, I'm sure it's like pretty decent.
But it's not like if you had that house in the middle of New Orleans, like.
Yeah, the middle of New Orleans, I think it's probably crazy.
One thing to note while they were at Nicole's house was at some point, like they were trying on like costumes and they put on a corset, but then they put on these hats and these hats looked awful. They looked terrible. I hated these hats.
I didn't even notice this.
Oh my God.
I
guys.
also do not remember anything about hats.
Hats?
I remember
Come
the corset.
on. They were so ugly.
I couldn't even.
No clue.
No idea.
Well, they
hats.
might be the screenshot, so maybe you at home will know, and James and VJ will not know. I guess.
So is there a reason why the guys didn't get in any costumes? Like they were going to this parade for so long. Like why didn't they?
But they weren't on the float.
the float was the only women-only float in all of Mardi Gras.
I get they couldn't go on the float. I get you need costumes for the float. Why not just have costumes? Just hang out and drink at the parade. Like I don't know.
Do you like getting into costumes, Rob?
Having some kind of Halloween or Springween, you got to have costumes.
They had a lot of
What if
heat.
it's?
I mean, they were all dressed up. Like it's not like they were wearing like a t-shirt and shorts. They were all wearing a suit.
All these people are doing is going and standing on a street corner for 6 hours. I would have definitely dressed just the most comfortable way I could have,
I would have been.
Not what
I
they
would have
did.
brought a cooler with me. Is what I would have done.
and some chairs probably.
Chairs. Yeah, that would be ideal. The other
These guys
thing
just went to the bar in the middle, right? Like
that's
what
what I was-
happened.
Should they have? Or did they? Like that's what I was going to wonder. Like, did they really just
Yes
stand
and
on the
yes.
corner for 6 hours?
Yeah, I don't know. I doubt it. I really do. There's a big like gap between like what time they like say that they're there and like when they show up. One thing to note while they were standing there, they said that, oh, you got to be paying attention like for the beads, because if you're not paying attention, you just get smacked in the face with beads at Mardi Gras. So hot tip, if you ever go to Mardi Gras, pay attention for the beads. Also, a 6-hour float sounds fucking miserable.
Oh, absolutely.
I can barely stand like a 20-minute like parade. A fucking 6-hour parade. Ugh. Being in it,
Do you
watching
not want to
it.
be on the float for 6 hours? You don't want to watch a parade for 6 hours.
I don't want to have anything to do with it. I don't want to be in it.
Any of it.
I don't want to watch it.
But it seems like if you were on the float, it seems like exactly what you'd like to do. It's just a bunch of drinking and hanging out and partying on a float with your buds.
You know, I could sign up for like being in the bar, drinking,
people
and
being?
watching the float. Like if I'm just like hanging out drinking, maybe. I don't know. It seemed hot. I don't want to be on the float. I don't know.
I think VJ's hit the key of why you don't want to be on that float with the drinking for 6 hours.
It's a solvable problem.
Yeah, I mean the float's moving slow enough where you could get off, go run, pee, get back on.
You can
I
also
guess.
just put a bucket on the float, Rob.
My idea seems better.
It's New Orleans. Just go on the street. That's what they do anyways.
Yeah, but like, you get off the float, go to the corner, pee, and then get back on. Right? It's moving slow enough where you can get back on easily.
All right, should we talk about some of the other people on the show? So we got the 4 main people.
Did we talk about Barry?
Yeah.
We haven't really talked about Barry because the only thing I wrote down about Barry is that he hates Mardi Gras.
he does hate Mardi Gras, but he's also like I think a professional trainer or something, and he's also like a sports agent. Am I getting
No,
that
no,
right?
no,
Yeah.
Is that
no,
another
no.
person?
He's not the agent.
Different
The agent is
person.
the lawyer dude.
Okay, I confused those two.
We'll get it. I have him written down.
He's like so Barry. They show him like taking care of the kids, taking them to like school and soccer practice and stuff like that. This is where
Yes.
they interlude that like Tamika doesn't do any cooking or any like sort of stereotypical like house stuff, and so like he's like I'm the power dad and like I do all this kind of stuff. But I didn't really catch like I thought he was the sports agent, so I got that wrong. What does he do?
I think he does do some fitness stuff.
Yeah, is he just a trainer maybe?
I don't know. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
No, I think this guy is the trainer, and the other guy who goes to his dad,
His name is Justin.
Justin,
Justin the lawyer.
doesn't really show up on the show that much. Anyway, should we move on to the next couple, so to speak?
Who's the next
Just-
couple? Is Justin and Kelsey the next couple?
Justin and Kelsey, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Ba-
go
Barry
ahead.
seems like the most reasonable guy. Like that's the only comment I have. Like Barry just seems like a reasonable dude who's like accidentally on this reality.
I
TV
thought
show.
he would be the star, but he's not. Like I thought
Right.
he would be like the main. He's like the like normal guy followed by all these crazy people. So you follow
Right.
him through this crazy world.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. Justin, Barry's best friend. He's a personal injury lawyer. He's also trying to be an NFL guy, like deal with the contracts and stuff.
Agent.
Agent. It's called an agent.
Contracts.
But he also wants to be a mentor to the players, not just here's your $10 million, see you go.
Yeah, he saw that show. What's that show with Dwayne
Ballers.
Johnson? Ballers.
Ballers.
She saw Ballers. It was like, oh, I want to party
I
on
can be
these
the Rock.
boats. I
Right.
want to party on those boats with the NFL players. So I got to be more friendly than just like handle their contracts. If you want to do that, his girlfriend is Kelsey, and they moved in together. But he's trying to renovate his house.
Do we
So
know they
he's-
moved in together?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
they
they've
said
already
at
moved
the
in.
dinner. They're like, "Do you live together? When are you getting married?" That was a
Yeah.
Got it.
But then the only reason he's on the show, at least the only scene he's really in, is like he's at his house with his mom and he has to renovate his house. So he wants to live with his mom while they're renovating his house and bring his girlfriend with him. And it's just like they didn't even answer the question while we watch him. It's just like, ugh.
You're underselling it. So like I don't know if he lives at it, but he has gotten his childhood house from his parents. He's in the process of buying it, which I don't know what that means. If he's slowly giving them a little
But
bit
like,
of money,
then why does he need to move in with his parents?
then the childhood house has to be renovated because the foundation is a little cracked, is what he says. But then you look at the house and there's just two giant cracks across floors. Seems like this house is about to go into three pieces any moment.
Yeah.
And then, so like his parents have basically already given him one house, and then he's like, "Hey, can I live in your second house with you? And I'm gonna bring my girlfriend there too. And I haven't spoken to my girlfriend about this, so who knows what she thinks about this?"
Well, I mean, I feel like that's reasonable. Like, hey, ask the parents before you ask the girlfriend if, they can move in to the house. Like, you got to ask one or the other first.
I would communicate with the person that I'm planning to live with first. That's kind of part of the living together situation.
Or he also might have just said that. You can kind of play both sides on that.
Right, totally, yeah. That'd be the smart move.
I feel like, Vijay, you asked how much money do these people have? Well, this guy doesn't have a whole lot. Like, even though you feel like he should, as like an NFL agent.
No. He's not an NFL agent. He wants to be an NFL agent. Those are two different things. I
That's
want
fair.
to be a billionaire. That does not make me a billionaire.
That's fair. They made some sort of comment to seem like he had a player that he has a contract with, but unclear if that person
Right.
makes any money. Yeah, there's nothing really else to say about this guy. He was in the the lunch thing that all the guys were in.
Yeah, where they had the huge flask.
Well, I was definitely gonna bring that up. I'm like, Noah's gonna love this. Giant flask. What was the drink in it, Noah? Did you catch it?
Some rum. I thought I heard rum in it.
Well, it was like a mixed drink though. Like it was like
Right,
a
yeah.
challenge drink.
I just remember the rum part.
It was.
That's
I
what
love the Jeff guy trying to pick up the flask and take a photo with it, and then like this is a giant flask to set the scene, right? Like I don't know, it's a good foot and a half tall, and he's just picking it up, and it looks comical, and he's just putting it in his suit jacket. I enjoyed it. It was funny. I thought Jeff was funny there. I don't know. Regan wasn't there to appreciate though, so it would have been a dud.
Maybe Reagan's new husband will find it funny.
Yeah, so the last person really that's a main character on the show is John. He's a painter. He has sold, quote unquote, sold paintings to the president and rappers, which there are photos of that. So you can take my quotes with a quote.
Little technicality there. They don't claim that he sold one to the president, just that he gave one. So I'm not sure if the president was willing to pay him for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, who knows? The rappers might or may not have paid either. Who knows?
That's true.
At some point, they say his paintings are worth between 6 and 30K each.
Yeah, I mean, the artwork is good.
Look good, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like he seems to have a lot going for him. He's like 24. He's in ridiculous shape. Seems to be making paintings that people like. Like he seems to be making bank.
Look, his swagger is confidence, and his cologne is confidence.
Have we talked about his outfit yet?
No.
His confidence.
Okay. The first time we encounter this guy, he is wearing sort of a velvet red sport jacket, no undershirt underneath that, just pure abs. Hilarious.
I mean,
the show started with this season on, and I really got the impression from that he never has a shirt on. Like he might have a jacket on, but no shirt on. But then the actual episode, he seemed to have a shirt on most of the times we saw him. So I don't know if this is like going to change over the season, or that this season on was very selective of the shots they saw, but a lot of abs.
Yeah. Should we get to this season on? Can we like?
I mean, that's how the show started, so we should be able to talk about it.
Let's talk about it, because I hate when shows start with the season on.
Remember when we were surprised by this, or like, what is this? And now it's like every show.
I know, it's so weird. Like, I don't know who these people are. Why would I care the first 2 minutes of the show?
It makes sense in like a season 2, but like season 1, right?
It's
the
very
end of
old
the episode is very clear spot for something like that.
Like all the Shakespeare plays and like all the old plays, like they tell you the story. They tell you what's going to happen before it happens. It's a very old storytelling technique.
Yeah, when you're telling a story, like here, you're just following people in their lives. Like there's no good story.
They're telling you the story of their lives.
Yeah, what?
No, nothing says Southern Charm New Orleans like it's like Shakespeare.
Oh man, it is.
Oh yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, I mean the only thing I remember from this season on is that the two women that are naked that they paint. That's all I remember.
Sorry, are we talking about this season on or next on?
It was in both. It was in both.
Got it.
That's all I remember.
When they talk about the next on, seems like there's like these two women naked, and the painter is hosting a painting class. It seems like. Right, and the other guys are there, and then their wives show up and start Tamika starts like causing havoc, and she's like, "I'm not worried about my husband, I'm worried about you." And like, I don't really understand that comment. Like, the dude's single and just doing painting and has really no reason to answer to you.
I mean, the comment is, the implication is the husband makes poor decisions when he's in the presence of this other person, and so.
Maybe she should be discussing that with her husband.
I mean, that is a fair comment.
Yeah, we didn't watch that episode, guys. We're not allowed to talk about that one.
It's in the next one. We can talk about it.
All right.
So I'm curious, like this season on had multiple things where it implied like there's like nudity in this show, and how did they not have some of that during Mardi Gras? Like, I feel like that seems like on brand. It should have been in episode 1.
There is no nudity in this show.
I think nudity's on brand for New Orleans in general.
Yeah.
I don't think it's on brand.
When Max goes to New Orleans, he's naked all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't think you could show your boobs in the outfits they wore. Like, it seemed like those things would fall apart immediately if you tried to like.
I'm not saying the main cast. I'm saying just randos at
Because the
Mardi
randos
Gras.
didn't sign up with didn't sign their lives away and get 25 grand to be on the show.
You don't have to give them 25 grand. You give them $100. Easy.
This isn't Girls Gone Wild, Rob. We've been through this.
It's
I thought it
Mardi
was.
Gras.
I thought it was
literally-
implying there was going to be Girls Gone Wild elements in it, and then I was surprised there was not.
Mardi Gras basically is a hotspot for Girls Gone Wild.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know, but like, that's not the show that they're trying to put on.
Are we dating ourselves with that reference? Like, is Girls Gone Wild even still a thing?
No,
No.
Good question.
we are
good question.
definitely dating ourselves.
Right? Like, that guy got in like major trouble, right?
Hold
what-
on, let me
Shut it
Google
down.
this. Girls.
What's the TikTok
Gone-
version of Girls Gone Wild?
It's now OnlyFans. is where you can-
OnlyFans. Thank you, Chris. Very good.
That's our new reference instead of Girls Gone Wild.
I am Googling Girls Gone Wild now. I want to see what's happened here.
The one thing
Careful, Noah.
I want to say before we get to questions is that Jared, which was Tamika's cousin, they had he was at I guess the housewarming, and there was some sort of acronym which I kind of missed, but it was like other husband best cousin boo,
Yeah.
Yep.
right?
Yeah. OHBCB.
That seems like a terrible acronym. Like, is
It's not a real one. They made it up.
I know, but like when you make up an acronym, like you want to be able to say it. Like, how do I even say that?
You
Ogboo?
don't.
Like, just like
It was a
uh,
terrible acronym. Like, very bad.
It's so bad. But I thought that was, I guess, something to bring up. I guess it was not really important.
like
Noah, would you like to explain your internet corner?
On Girls Gone Wild?
Yeah.
Not really, but I will. Did look into Girls Gone Wild. Yeah, the company ceased to exist in 2011, and they sold the assets to Bang Bros. That's Bang Bros. I didn't look further what Bang Bros does. I assume they are about bros who build houses because they bang hammers and nails.
Oh yes, you should definitely Google Bang Bros now and then tell us.
I really thought the internet corner was going to go deep on Bang Bros. Now that was the implication.
Nah,
Anyway,
not right now.
let's get to questions. Let's do it. Who's the worst human being?
Reagan.
Yes.
Easy.
Yeah.
Unanimous.
Yeah.
Yes, but
Mm,
Give us the butt, Noah.
y'all are forgetting the mom who stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from her.
Wasn't on
but
the
she's
show.
not in the
Wasn't on the
show.
show. She's not.
Yeah.
Otherwise, of course.
Yeah.
She's not eligible.
Right.
I think she deserves a shout out on his question at least.
Very fair.
Yeah, I don't think anyone even without the whole getting divorced later, she definitely encourages a lot of drinking going on.
That's the problem you have with her?
There's no problem with that.
That is
I
not
mean,
the problem.
Tamika
Let's
gets
be
really
clear.
drunk at the
Who cares?
why is she the worst human being then?
Her voice.
You know who's on this
She's the most
podcast?
whiny, annoying person I've ever heard speak.
I've never so clearly known somebody went to a sorority than seeing this girl talk.
That
Guys,
makes you
I
a
don't
bad
know.
human being because you went to a sorority.
I agree with Chris on this one. I made the case why she's a bad human being. Like Jeff, who's already lost trust in all human beings, she's fucking him over again.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right? That's all it takes. She's like, hey,
Yeah.
we're gonna move into this nice studio, and then he's like, and then last day she's gonna be like, well, you packed your stuff, just unpack it here. I'm gonna leave. See ya.
I mean, you say that that's what's going to happen. And clearly, that happens. But
I guess we'll just have to watch.
You
to
say
find
that's
out.
what's going to happen, and we know it is what happens. But
we don't
still,
know that we don't know.
We don't know that
they got
happens,
divorced, but we don't
Yeah,
know.
we don't know that happens. But what we do know is that she is letting him believe that he is moving with her, and she is planning to be separated. That is actively happening on the episode we watched.
Correct.
Okay. I missed that. So like,
But I told
I
you
believe,
this.
I believe you. I believe
like a
you.
little bit ago.
I believe you. Okay. So there's no host, so we'll skip the host question. Actually, I'm going to substitute the host question. Is this an upgrade or downgrade or apex for our NFL player?
I think winning the Super Bowl was his apex.
No, that's fair.
If you had just had a
that's-
journeyman career and never really did anything, but he won the Super Bowl. I'm sure he has a photo of him with Drew Brees. Like
But like,
that was the peak.
how many like what would get you past that? Like, what kind of TV or like reality career would get you past that?
I mean, if he became like the Tony Romo, and then like that was his second phase, then arguably that would be better than having won a Super Bowl. But I'm gonna say he's not gonna get there.
Like,
But reality, no, he could become bigger in reality. I mean, if he had a show where he was the main character, and it wasn't that he was a tertiary character who was in there just because of his wife, terrible wife, then yes.
well,
Wait,
like,
we're talking about Jeff or Jay Cutler?
like we just talked about how this guy's making $325,000 to be on the show, right? Like,
We don't know that.
that's more than the baseline, like the minimum NFL players making.
I don't think that's actually correct at this point.
It's
I think
close.
it's close. I don't know if he's making that much of the show of like if Reagan's making that and he gets like half of that.
Well, Reagan gets paid the same. Anyway,
I don't
all
know
right.
if they get paid the same. I wouldn't be 0% surprised if they pay more for Reagan than for him.
I wonder if they pay based on minute of like. air
Apparently, the
time.
current minimum NFL salary is $600K.
Damn.
Damn, I was off.
I thought it used to be like 400, 450. Maybe like when he
Yeah,
was in the NFL, that was the case.
I'm sure when he was in the NFL, it was lower than this, but like it probably was still above 325.
All right. Do we have a baffling or cringy moment people want to mention? Raise your hand. If not, we'll just move on. Let's go to drinking rules. James, I think you had a drinking rule while we were watching the show, so why don't you give it to us?
It's true. I noticed pretty immediately in this show that there's just a lot of one-liners, and so my drinking rule is every zingy one-liner would have yourself a little drink.
That's a great one. I think for every new character, you take a drink. Like
Ooh.
somebody's cousin, somebody's like second cousin's first removed daughter like comes in. Like,
Someone's
you gotta take a drink.
OHBCB.
Like just start drinking like when there's a party because it's just like so many people. VJ, you got one?
No.
Rob, do you have a drinking rule?
Rob is having connection issues.
I'm having a little bit of internet issues, but I was gonna. It died down as the episode went on. But when you see the fleur de lis, like the New Orleans symbol, you should take a drink when you see that.
It's a good one. Max, you got one?
Every time somebody takes a drink, take a drink.
Ooh, that's a classic. Noah, you got one?
I think Max nailed it, so I'm not gonna try to do better.
Yeah, those are all good rules. I think you'd get really drunk with those rules, so have fun. What do you think the production schedule is for this one? I know, Rob, this is one of your favorite questions. But
Do we know how many days this episode was over? So it's the parade. There's the parties. Like, is this 3 days?
It seems really dense. It seems like at least a week to me.
I don't know. It seems like, some of these things could have happened out of order. Like there's no through line for a lot of this stuff. So, you film for like a month and then you try to get these storylines linked together as you go. Would make the most sense to me.
In normal life, what the thing they showed, like I think it would be a week where one weekend they go over to their friend's place for dinner, then Mardi Gras is happening, and then the following weekend is the housewarming, right? Like that's how it would end up playing out. But I don't know for the show schedule how they played that.
You can accelerate all of that just to be like, hey, we're filming this show for these next 2 weeks. You have to do stuff every day.
But like this was at least 3 days of like this episode had at least 3 different days, right?
Yeah.
It couldn't have happened in less than that. We know that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure on some of this sleuth thing I did about Southern Charm, but it was unclear if it's about New Orleans or broadly, is 1 week per episode over the course of roughly 3 months.
Oh, that's a lot.
Well, because it's like 15 episodes to a season, so 1 week you get three to 4 months.
And that's why they're getting paid more, because it's actually more effort.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
All right. What shows inspired this show? What are their mommies and daddies? We kind of talked about it already with the Kardashians and the Wives show. For some reason, my brain is blanking.
Desperate.
Desperate
Wives.
Maybe we have a little Girls Gone Wild as a show pair.
I was gonna say Party Down South, but the OG actually predates it.
Yeah, it's a pretty old show. I mean, it's not that old, 2014, but like, it's also not that. Obviously, Southern Charm is direct parent. So,
Yeah.
Rob, would this show be better as a chibi or queeby? Rob's muted. He's not talking to us.
Chibi or Queeby.
Noah, is this show better than a chibi or queeby?
You know what? Usually my answer here is obviously everything can go chibi. But I'm going to go no for this in the shock because, as we discussed, there's a lot of content they're putting into this. I think they're actually weaving together some intricate storylines. As we discussed, there's a lot happening, not a lot of resolve. And so I'm going to go no on the Quib and yes to the Bravo.
I think you're right. I think that there's too much. There's like 7 minutes of this would be worse.
No, I actually think this is a good show for the Quibi, because like you could just do 7 minutes on each event. So like let's imagine like this episode would actually be 3 Quibi episodes, right? So like first day you just have the dinner. So like let's say we're watching it. So like Monday an episode drops, we watch the dinner. Next day episode drops, we watch the parade. Next day episode drops, we watch the housewarming, and that's how we're kind of consuming it.
I'd like to see, I think you're on. I'd like to see like a per character intro. So like we get like a cool, like we meet Tamika and Barry or whatever, and like they have their episode where like, or like we meet 4 people and they have 1 episode, and then like the next episode, like they can intro some other people instead of introing like 20.
I mean, that just
people.
sounds like a different show at that point, to be honest. I was just saying like cut this episode into 3 pieces.
Well, I
make
mean,
that-
the first like third of the show was really introducing the 4 of them.
Right.
They had the dinner together, so like it's not far from what you wanted.
Right.
You could cut it that way. Anyway, let's get into our favorite question and last question. We do ratings. We do a stack ranking system. We're top, middle, bottom, compared to other reality shows. VJ, what do you got for me?
This is top of the bottom. I mean, like production value seems decent. The characters are somewhat interesting. I mean, they're like unique in some sense, I guess. But like, just the show, like, not much really. Like, they just don't do a good job of making me care about these people.
Rob, what do you got for me?
I got put in the bottom. It's just not super interesting, and I really don't care what's happening on this show. So,
Max, what do you got for me?
I was ready to put this in the middle, but I can't. It is going to be bottom third, top of the bottom. Here's why. The last third of the show had so much more sort of producer forced stuff that I was like, okay, no more. I was almost enjoying it up until that point.
James, what do you got for me?
It's actually really similar thoughts to Max here, where like the first maybe 2/3 or half of the show I felt like was really solid. It was pretty entertaining. It was this kind of new and exciting thing. But then sort of that last third, I find myself just kind of checking out a little bit, maybe doing a little phone check-in and whatnot. And so I'm going to put this in middle, but bottom of the middle. I thought production value was really high. I thought the people and characters were somewhat interesting, but a little bit underwhelming in terms of some of the plot or things that were kind of set up. Like there was no like big hook to kind of really keep me to come back. So gonna go middle, bottom of the middle.
Noah, what do you got for me?
Yeah, the show moved along. I like that. You know, I hate when the show just kind of drag on. You're like kind of putting needles in your skin just to feel something. The one piece I really would like here, comparing on last week with the Love Bus, was you got to see a little bit of Africa right there in Kenya. Obviously, it's a bit hammed up, but they showed a bit of the local culture. And for New Orleans, it's super rich. And I think they peppered it in, but not enough. And when they did, it was over the top, like Priestess, Katarina. And so I think it can improve there. But the show moves. So putting it in the middle, bottom of the middle, I'm not going to be watching more of it.
I'm gonna go. So like I've only seen a handful of these type of shows because I mean we don't tend to watch them because clearly I mean they're a lot of bottom thirds here. But for this type of show, I thought it was like more towards the top. I thought I'm not putting it in the top, but for this type of like reality show where we're just following a bunch of people around, like these people are compelling, like. You know, they're not like the most compelling in the world, but they're not like manufacturing a ton of stuff from what I could tell. And like, they're like somewhat interesting, as opposed to the Kardashians, which, that was just like so bad. I'm gonna put it in the middle. I'm not a huge fan of these kind of shows. But like in a first episode, it's really hard to get be motivated to care about these people. I could see after like watching like 3, 4, 5 and figuring out if I was in or out, like that would probably be more advantageous to figure out what I actually thought about the show. But I, again, just not our style or my style. So like, so it's going to stay in the middle. Speaking of Inori Love Wagon, Max, I hear you may have watched more.
Yeah. I watched one more episode and it really starts to show more of its character, I think, in the second episode. It gets a little wild. They really love the informatics. So there was a section in the episode we watched where they explain about there's no plastic bags made in Kenya anymore. And they really love these sort of like historical lessons that impact today, and they love informatics about that. Chris, what did you think?
I watched half of episode 2, and I'm still waiting for the love wagon. There was just like them still traveling around Kenya. Like it was more interesting than episode 1 because you get to see a school that they built and like people at school. Like I don't know. I didn't watch the whole episode, to be honest.
Chris, did you see anything about a hoodie?
No.
Oh boy. Okay.
I was like watching it while something else was going on and the other thing stopped, so I didn't finish.
Okay, you should finish the episode.
Okay, all right. I'll try and I'll report back. Max, do you have any other shout outs this week?
Yeah, I was just informed during filming that or recording that there's a new season of Temptation Island. Very exciting. I've been watching Killing Eve, which is honestly hot garbage. It makes zero sense, but it's very entertaining.
Okay. James, you got a shout out this week?
I do. I have 2 quick ones. One, not going to surprise anybody, but Below Deck has just wrapped up their latest season. I'm just saying, it was a hell of a ride. 2, movie and now a show. I don't know if you guys are into this thing. I somehow got roped into this train, but Snowpiercer. This thing is freaking nuts. 1, the movie is wild. And the movie, I think, was pretty old. It's like at least 10 years old or so. And now TNT has an all-new series. They're on season 2, airing right now. I think episode 4 just dropped, which I watched before this show. So all aboard the Snowpiercer train around the world. There's an interesting sci-fi element to it where the world is frozen. Bunch of class systems on this massive train. It's got to keep moving. Don't ask why it's got to keep moving. It's just got to keep moving. And it's just really interesting and really bizarre and different. I don't know. It's kind of fun.
I'm glad to hear that. Like the movie was great, and Daveed Diggs like just kind of rooting for him, and so I'm glad like he got something that's like seems to be rock solid.
I've only seen 3 episodes, and that was gonna be my shout out as well. So please no spoilers.
You got it.
James, I do have a question for you. Below Deck, how does that deal with the COVID situation? I know last time we hadn't quite gotten there yet.
Yeah, are spoilers okay? I'll give the spoiler warning.
Yeah,
if you're
you
below
give
deck.
the spoilers for Below Deck.
Yeah, so spoiler warning granted. I think it was like episode 15 or 16 they got into. And sort of throughout the show, there were sort of hints that like, hey, something might be going on. I think I might have mentioned this in one of the pods before. Towards the end, it's very clearly known, like they have internet and stuff on the boat, right? Like they have a Wi-Fi and a cell signal. So they're getting some amount of updates, they're texting with their families, but it's pretty early on in the overall timeline. And I want to say by the last episode, it was probably, I'm guessing around like mid-March or end of March. And the season basically ends short. It gets cut short. The last 2 charters actually cancel. And then everyone abandons the boat. And like, you know, they're at dock and stuff. So it's not like everyone's jumping off the boat. But basically the season
Abandon ship.
very abruptly ending with Captain Lee going, who knows? I hope I see this office again. He just walks away from the My Sienna, which is the name of the boat this season. Which, another spoiler, but crazy, bizarre twist, the chief stew fired her third stew the day before that the show got shut down. So like super sucks for her because she gets fired. They have this whole like going away thing. There's a whole bunch of drama that night. And then the next day they're like, all right, season's over. Everyone go home. I booked you all flights. So who knows when we'll get another episode? That might be the last Below Deck until this COVID thing blows over.
2023. See Below Deck then. Noah, you have a shout out this week?
Trying to think where to put it, but I got one that I got a segue to kick it off to Rob. Sorry to take any fire there. But I started Your Honor on Showtime, and I binged like 5 hours straight. Really solid show. It has Bryan Cranston, obviously Walter White from Breaking Bad. It goes super deep quickly, so I'm not even going to go into anything about it, but really good watching.
There you go. Rob, you have
kick it over. Yeah, sorry. Rob, we've been waiting for you. The masking, the dancing, where are we at?
We already
We're
went
not
over
watching
this.
any of it.
We already went over this.
None of it. Oh, can I give spoilers then?
Yes.
Sure.
All right. So spoiler. Blah, 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 blah,
Bah, bah.
all right. So it's over. It seems like it just ended. I think potentially tonight. And it's kind of like a tale of like 2 shows. In the beginning, they had like very notable contestants: Ice-T, Bill Nye, Brian McKnight, Vinny from Jersey Shore. Then all the way to the end, they have Jordan Sparks, Oscar De La Hoya. The last 3, they're kind of more in their own zone. So they have the third runner-up, Mackenzie Ziegler, who seems like a kid star, like seems crushing with kids. She has like 20 million followers on TikTok. Like clearly there's a group of people that really know her.
Oh,
The TikTok people.
I think I know a person who's related to this person.
Oh.
All right. Keep going. Noah.
The runner-up, I shit you not, his name is Maxime Kmerkovsky, and he's actually a professional dancer. And then the winner was Gabby Douglas, former professional gymnast, gold-winning 2012, 2016 Olympics.
I mean, this points to the fact that like dancers aren't like popular, right? Like the best dancers aren't like really the top like AA star actors or C star celebrities, really, even.
I think there's like a divide, right? Like our society doesn't value it. So you're not gonna have a lot of C stars that are famous, but I think there's some A stars, right? If you were to get like Britney Spears or Jennifer Lopez or Lady Gaga, like, and they're like busting their ass on stage, like they definitely could crush it. But they're not.
Question about that: are they like they're not the best dancers? Like they, if you were just purely judging dancing, they wouldn't be in the top tier of dancers.
Right, but they would probably do well on this show.
Of course.
Would they? It's all about how good dancers you are. Like a professional dancer probably blows them away. Like,
What do we think, guys? Are they going to get a second season?
no. What are the ratings? Noah, look up the ratings.
And then, sorry, Rob. Sorry to cut over you. I'll look up the ratings in the meantime.
Rob, you got a shout out this week?
I was going to do a shout out to me and my 2-year-old daughter are watching the new season of Animaniacs on Hulu.
Nice.
And I don't know if it's actually a good show. Like if you've never watched it, I don't know if it's actually fun. But if you're a 2-year-old and just like watching cartoons, or you have nostalgia for it, it's a fun time.
You're setting her up.
Oh, yeah.
So it's still like the same type of humor.
Oh yeah. They brought back the original voice actors for the main Warner characters and Pinky and the Brain. So
It's sad that they're missing the pigeons. I liked the pigeons.
the good feathers. you
The
mean.
good feathers, yeah.
And I can like really imagine Wacko's voice in my brain in a way I can't describe for too many characters.
Did they update the World Country song? Because that's like pretty famous.
They make a joke about how he's about to go off and start singing about countries, and then they cut him off.
VJ, you have another shout out, or is all right? I don't really have any shout out this week. So Noah, did you finish your internet cornering?
Yeah. Overall, the consensus is low. I don't really know much about the ratings, but it seems on average at a 0.5 rating,
Ooh.
0.6 rating.
That's pretty low compared to the Mass Singer. Mass Singer was getting like two plus or something. Like, so I would bet you won't see it again. There you have it this week. You can find us on Twitter at whoputthisun. You can find us on Facebook.com/whoputthisun. You can email us questions, suggestions at whoputthisun@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bang Bros.
Okay, I have to talk about this.
Why why can't we talk about Bang Bros? I'm so confused.
If you didn't know what Bang Bros was, you would think it's a porn site about banging your bros,
No,
right?
It definitely
No.
sounds like gay porn.
Yeah.
I
If you did-
definitely did not think that. I definitely thought they were just like bros who like to bang,
Yeah, exactly.
not each other.
Ooh boy.
Somebody's got to pay me not to have that as the outro.